What's up, fam? How y'all doing? I'm about to go live with one of my best friends in the whole multiverse, if you believe in that multiverse type of thing. But with my friend Mikado. And for those of you guys who know Mikado, he was on my podcast. We had a hilarious, incredible conversation. Lasted a couple hours. We got a little drunk. We got a little high. I think we'll be a little less drunk and a little less high for this one. But we're still going to have a lot of fun with you guys. So we're going to go half an hour on my account here and then jump over to his account and do another half hour there. So it'll be a full hour live for you guys. So looking forward to chatting with everybody, and I'll see when Mikado jumps in, and we'll get this party started. How's everybody doing? How's everybody holding up? Oh, there he is. I see him. Looks like it's about to happen. Yo.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good, brother. Man, it's good to see your face.
It's good to see yours too, man. Everything's great over here. How are you?
I'm really good, man. I'm really good. We got to talk yesterday about things that will not be discussed. However, nonetheless,
no, that's too early for that. Definitely too early for that.
You know, and this is interesting times where interesting things happen. You know, when there's a big macro event like this, you know, and I'd love to hear your perspective about the interesting things happening in your inner world. But as the outer world changes, the inner world changes, and vice versa. But now we're experiencing, you know, usually it's the inner world changing and then seeing the outer world change. That's typically the way we've gone. And now that whole outer world's changing, and it's just changing the inner world.
Well, it's interesting because it sort of made me think of both of those two things as kind of the same, just the flip side of the same coin, right?
Yep.
Like the dimensionality of our inner universe and our outer universe, they affect each other. You know, they're symbiotic. So like the fact that the outer universe can affect our inner right now, to me says that our inner can affect the outer as well, right? So I think we can get through this by going inside. I think that will change the outer world. Yeah.
And that's always been my advice. Like anytime anybody's like lost and can't figure out what to do, I was like, well, start right at home. And the home is yourself. You know, home is your psyche. Home is your inner universe. You got right in the center of centers, as you like to call it. Like go there. That's always a productive place to go. Like you could go to fucking Bali or something if you want, or you could just go inside, deep. You know, and that's always gonna bear fruit.
Yeah, I was having this conversation yesterday with a friend of ours actually, and I was saying, you know, like he was saying how difficult everything is right now, and that's true. Things are difficult. They're very challenging and uncertain. And humans, we fear the unknown. We always fear the unknown. Like that's that great equalizer that I think we all have inside of us. But I was saying, you know, people like you, people like me, people like him, we've done so much work. We've done a lot of practice, right? We've had a lot of training for this kind of thing, whether it's in psychedelics or through past trauma. And I was saying, consciousness as a muscle, this is kind of the time to exercise the stamina of your consciousness. Not go so deep. Just go to where you're comfortable. Go to where you've trained to go. Go to where you've practiced to go. And now the Olympics is stamina. This is not the 400 dash. This is the fucking 26-mile marathon, right? So this is how long can I stay in a peaceful place? And I think that's where I think that as light workers, that's where we have to shift our consciousness. Like not so much, let's go deeper in this time. Let's put all this pressure on ourselves to go deeper and become more connected and more spiritual. Maybe it's go to where you're comfortable and stay the fuck there.
Yeah.
You know, like that feels good.
Yeah, man. And what an opportunity to do that, because there's a steady, constant pressure. And sometimes there's blips in it, but it's like a steady economic pressure, a steady pressure to stay at home, a steady pressure on your relationship. There's kind of like a steady external. And then, of course, I'm sure people are experiencing blips, but we have a steady external and then the opportunity to really have time freed up and like space freed up and all of these other excuses that we might have put aside to say like, all right, I'm going to work,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to go to Colombia, or I'm going to go to Peru, and then I'm going to do ayahuasca, and then I'm going to declutter all that work real fast, and then I'm going to get back to work. I mean, that's been a lot of what I've done, and I've tried to maintain it as best as I could, but the invitation
You've done a great job. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Right.
So have you.
Yeah.
But now, like you said,
you.
now the invitation for that constant, steady practice with this constant external, like source of resistance, it's cool. It's different. It's unique.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's everything that we've been training for. Like, so it's, and when I say we, I say to your followers as well, because I know that they're in training as well. And so this is the time. This is the opportunity. This is the invitation to say, hey, get in the game. It's time to play. Ball's in your hands. What are you gonna do? And that's a beautiful thing, man. Like it's a stamina game now, and I don't think I've ever actually had to really exercise that part of my consciousness to stay at peace and stay in bliss and try to stay in abundance in that state for an extended period of time. Like I'm the same. I've been working, money, this, external, and then I go to Colombia.
Yep.
Or then I go to Peru with you, or I go to, and then like all of a sudden, oh, I'm spiritual again. I'm completely spiritual. I'm now completely spiritual again. Call me by my spiritual name. Fuck you.
And then fast forward 1 week, and it's fucking, oh yeah, remember we went to Peru last week,
I'm like, yeah, and now I'm acting like fucking Charlotte is Vegas. I have no idea why I'm doing that. Why I'm in Charlotte.
I'm now one of the monsters in Rampage. I'm climbing up buildings, and punching through windows, and fucking just being an animal.
I miss you, brother.
Yeah, I miss you too, man.
Yeah.
I miss you too. You've been doing a lot of different, interesting, like kind of like ceremonies and rituals, and I know you're quarantined with your wonderful partner, and that's that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, Frida, I saw her. She's on the call here too, and I'm sure next to you as well.
You want to come say hi, babe? Want to come say hi? Yeah, come say hi. She's in her unpacking. Like, we got a bunch of Amazon boxes. She's in her very comfortable wear.
Hi, Frida.
I can't hear you, but I love you.
Oh, he can't. Yeah.
I can't hear, but
earphones. He said, hi, Frida. That's all he said.
Hey, everybody. That's
he said, you look like shit. Yeah. Oh, that's fucked up, bro. No.
Yeah, it's like Amazon Christmas out here now, because like everything we get is like coming from Amazon. Like there's just boxes just arriving. It's a very interesting time.
Yeah, I think I'm spending the exact same amount of money sitting in the house, like as I am gallivanting around the world. Because I'm like, damn, I didn't know I needed another Moroccan poof.
You poof shopping?
I'm doing all of it.
You are.
I'm doing all the shopping, bro.
I've talked to Frida. You are like a late night shopper. Like your psyche is actually well matched for those like channels that just sell shit late at night. Except you don't do it. You don't do it on the channel. You just hop on your Instagram. I mean, hop on your fucking Amazon, and you're like, ooh, these sweatpants are sick.
Look, you know it's bad when you start going through your Amazon orders like they're DMs. I'm just like, ooh, that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be nice. Yeah. That's bad. Yesterday, I got really excited to meet the Postmates guy. I was like, wow, human interaction. Oh, yeah. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things are good in Austin?
That's going to be so great.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. Things are good here.
Yeah.
But when we get to meet up, fuck, that's going to be good. Like when everybody gets to hang again, I feel like it's going to be like the rave scene from Matrix 3, where they're all like playing drums and like partying underground. It's going to be
hopefully better music.
We're just gonna,
Yes.
I don't know. I kind of like this. I
know
like
you
that
do.
kind of underground techno vibe.
Yeah. I know you do. Yeah. That's why I always DJ when we're hanging out.
Yeah, fair enough. I'll take it. You're a musician. You're a fucking musician. What do I want? What do you want from me here?
You have many, many, many talents. Playlists
Yep.
are now one.
No doubt. Son of a bitch. We're in a fight. We're in a fight right now.
We're
That's
beefing.
it.
We're beefing.
We're beefing. You heard it here. We're fucking beefing.
Absolutely. Virtual beef. Let's start that. It's great. I want to say this though. I feel really good, man, because in New York, like, you know, we're in the belly of the beast. Obviously, there's more people per square foot here than anywhere in America. We have the largest population, and we got hit the worst. But the curve is flattening, and that can be a lesson to any sparsely populated city or any overpopulated city. That if you just stay the fuck in the house for about a month, 6 weeks, this thing can go away. Like, it's going away for us. Like the health scare is almost nearing an end for New York. We hit a peak and we're going down, and it's, you know, I don't think life is going to go back to normal for a while, but there is a lot of hope in that.
Yeah.
That this, like people aren't dying exponentially and adding to that death toll and still on the incline mid-April, late April. That's great. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I think this is, you know, this may be something that we have to prepare for, is just like every once in a while we're going to have to do this again, you know, and then return. And I think we'll adapt. We're an adaptive species. You know, there's a theory called the genetic bottleneck theory, and it just shows how adaptive human beings are when the world has faced big external cataclysms like a supervolcano eruption or different things. You know, that's what pushed people towards the coasts and had them like be more innovative on how to, you know, learn their fishing techniques. And actually, like the adaptation was actually essential for human survival in the long term, you know, from just forcing us to kind of reassess the world and then just make the adaptations necessary, both internally for our immune system, like what are the things that we're doing to support ourselves internally, and then what are the other ways that we're able to keep those other essential things there? Like, how do we have a sense of community? You know, how do we not feel lonely? How do we not engage with fear as the virus? You know what I mean? Like, how do we adapt ourselves, our inner landscape in all of the ways so that we're more prepared for this, you know, if it comes again.
It will come again. I think we have Corona season, COVID season, and I hope. I mean, look, I hope that we get 6 to 8 weeks a year to quarantine. I hope we have a quarantine season, and that brings families closer together. That brings humans back to home. That brings nurturing out of us. That brings support out of us in different ways. And I think we could benefit from that as a society, because we're always fucking moving. We're always stepping on each other's toes, purposely or unbeknownst to each other, and just taking the time to sit down and say, you know what the most important thing is for 6 to 8 weeks? My family, my health, and protecting those that I love, and being part of a larger community. And if we do that every year, I don't think I would mind that.
No.
I mean, obviously, I don't think we'll have to because we'll get a vaccine, but like, this might not really be solved till mid-2021.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think,
you know, like,
it reminds me, like there's religious traditions, which I think, you know, a lot of religion has had the kind of the soul of the practice kind of sucked out of it, you know, but there's like the tradition of Lent, which is like a month-long restriction of certain different pleasures of life that is designed to go, like get you to go inside and learn something from that. And you do that every year if you're practicing that tradition. And, you know, it used to be like the Sabbath, it used to have, you know, pretty strict restrictions for like 1 day a week. All right, we're not doing any work. We're not doing it. Like a lot of different traditions have had this, but we obviously have just blasted through all of those traditions. But but there's something really valuable about taking this time and celebrating it. Obviously being compassionate and empathetic for the reason that we're doing it has some tragic consequences for people getting sick. But nonetheless, like, it doesn't mean that we can't use it to our advantage in the best way that we possibly can. And then almost from a personal perspective, be like, all right, you know, this is our going inward time. This is our isolation time. I'm with that.
And to your point, I've been sitting in silence a lot, and I got this little, I don't know, transmission download, whatever, and you know, we always talk about the 5 stages of grief, right? And I realized maybe there's a 6th one, And maybe that sixth one is integration, is adaptation, right? Because like as we know it now, and as we interact with it now, the fifth stage of grief is acceptance, right? But is that enough? Is it just enough to accept that our lives are changed forever? Or is part of that grief and the healing from that grief the adaptation of who we are, or the integration of this new truth? And that really hit me the other day. I was just like, whoa, I think we're looking at this completely wrong. Like, yes, we got to go through all the stages of grief. Of course we do. We always do. And sometimes those can be chaotic and happening all at once. But if we incorporate the idea of adaptation or integration into the stages of grief, I think it's really going to help us. We're going to heal faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Integration is the point where that's where the alchemy really happens. You know, there's stimulus, and this stimulus in this case was initially, negative, but the alchemy happens when you turn something negative, you turn the lead into gold. That's the traditional metaphor for alchemy. I mean, old alchemists were literally trying to turn lead into gold, but we've adapted that same idea. Like, okay, what's the lead? Well, the lead is this virus. The lead is the restriction on our ability to gather and our ability to do that. That's lead. But how do we turn that into gold? And I think that has to be, and that's with any grief. Like, how do you turn any negative situation that starts off as lead? How do you turn that into gold? And that's a fucking choice. And that's a choice that I think we can make, and we are making, so many of us.
Right. Yeah. And it's really just like confronting your own fear about death. If you can confront your own fear about death, yeah, things can be scary at times. Things can be, you might be a little more cautious about how you're living, or whatever the case is, but you really can't live a full life, the kind that your soul agreed to when it took the body, if you're afraid of death. You just can't. And so I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to just face that ubiquitous fear that all humans have. It's like, yo, we have an expiration date. Welcome to the truth. You're gonna die. Welcome to the truth. I'm gonna die. And what the fuck are we gonna do in between the time that we remember being here and the time that actuality happens, right? And like that's the thing that we have a really cool opportunity to figure out and pursue. And like, what do we want that to look like? We have an opportunity to figure out who we are individually, while society is figuring out who it is on a larger scale. And that's fucking, I don't think that's happened before. Like, at least not, like, I'm a history buff, and I can't remember in modern times when that's happened.
Yeah.
Right?
And with that, it reminds me, I was watching Troy last night. I've gone on this like epic movie watching bender where I've been like watching Braveheart and Avatar, and I was watching Troy last night. And
how's it hold up? Troy,
it holds up great. Yeah, it holds up great. Same with like Braveheart and Patriot. Like they all like those classics. Those classics hold up. Some don't, but those ones did.
Yeah.
And when Achilles is talking to Perseus, was that the Trojan that he kind of falls in love with, and he says, let me tell you a secret: the gods envy us because we're mortal, because every single thing becomes so much more precious because we are going to die, and
every meal tastes better, every drink of wine is sweeter, every encounter of lovemaking is that more deep, because it's like ours are finite.
Yeah, and we take shit for granted so easily, and it's like, I think that's the importance of remembering that this is not, I mean, both of us have had experiences where we were real close to dying, car crashes, you had an illness, you'd had two of them, I had one that, I still bear the scars. This scar moved a little bit in a different direction, and that's my carotid artery, and it's game over, right? We all have these situations. We don't know when.
I get it.
So fucking make that kiss, as special as possible. Make these hugs as special as possible. Make whatever meal, whatever experience we have, like, live that,
Happiness. Yeah. Happiness. Like it's really interesting, because it's like I have a nephew who's turned 4 years old today, right? He's in Sweden. And you look at these videos of him, and like, you look at these pictures of him, And he is in the constant pursuit of happiness. Just in the constant pursuit of happiness. That's all he fucking does. It's all he does is tries his best to be as happy as he possibly can, moment to moment to moment to moment. And you look at that and you go, when did I fuck that up? When did I start believing that other people's opinions or the social construct that I've been forced into, or whatever the case is, meant as much to me as my personal happiness? And I started thinking about that. I'm just like, we have to be regressive geniuses. We got to go back. We got a friend that we call a regressive genius, right? And and she has figured out like how to be a 5-year-old with purpose, but still get your bills paid and still live your life. And I think there's something really attractive about that. I think that people are going to start realizing that the most important thing we can do is to pursue that happiness. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's it's a lot easier than we make it, man.
Well, we've been told a lot of lies. We've been indoctrinated into a culture that says happiness is the achieving a certain state of things. Like to be loved, to be worthy of love from ourselves and from the world is based on what we do externally. And that's always false. You can chase these external things for your entire life and you get them, and it doesn't mean you're happy. It's like, unless you're happy with the chasing, like the happiness comes from the act of the chasing. Like the happiness is not in the actually in the catching.
It's in the journey.
It's in the journey. It's like it's like we're greyhounds running towards a rabbit, but like the pleasure is in the running. Like go ahead, like let's run towards all the rabbits we want, but we got to enjoy the run. Right. Because otherwise, like there's not going to be anything there.
You're not greyhounding very well.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, it's the same society that tells you when you're a kid that Santa Claus is real, and they're fucking lying, right? And then one day you go, all the adults in my life are lying to me. This is bullshit. This is crazy. Like, I can't trust anybody. And then you start to trust the same society that told you all that bullshit when you were a kid, that this is happiness. And I just don't know when I go, like, there's this weird sort of transition that happens, I think, where you go, okay, everything I heard as a kid is bullshit, but now I believe you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, now that I'm adult, you must be telling the truth about everything in society now, right? Yeah, okay, cool. Let me play along. What the fuck? Like, you guys have been lying to us since we were kids about everything. Like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. I think it's less about the lies that are being perpetuated in society, more about the system, the society that creates people who believe the lie. Mm-hmm. Like that's our responsibility is to question everything. That's our responsibility. Does that make me happy?
All we got to do is look at the feedback. Like, I mean, it's never been. We've never gotten anything externally and then click. That's the thing. It's always like these moments of happiness. I think Muji, one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, says you go chasing bliss. It's like running after a butterfly. You'll never catch it. But if you sit still enough, bliss will land on your forehead and kiss you on the cheek. It's like, just like allow it. It's like allow it to be in the present moment where it always lives. It's not in the future. It's not in the past. That was one thing that I loved you talked about on one of the podcasts we did, was like that tendency we have to always be looking in the rear view mirror back at our past, or looking in the future. And when I'm retired and I don't have a job and I don't have all this, then I'll be able to travel to Hawaii and be fucking happy. Like wrong.
Conditional happiness. Happiness. Yeah.
We got to find it. We got to find it in ourselves, like within that acceptance and that alchemy and that ability to turn all of these different states we have into just the pleasure of the pursuit itself.
And how's that coming for you? How is the pursuit of happiness coming for you?
Well, I think it's been a hard road, to be honest. Like, cause I've been so doing oriented. Yeah. And there's been some joy in that for sure. But I was also so caught in the doing that the normal state of just being happy without thinking about what the next business move was going to be, what the next relationship move was going to be, what the next thing was going to be. It's like if I'm constantly playing chess, I'm constantly in that kind of slightly anxious state where I'm worried about what the next move.
Yeah.
I'm hypothesizing like what the next moves that the world might make or what the industry might make, and there's a place for that, but there's also a place of detachment from that, which comes from faith. And it's like, allow your mind to think about that. That's what the mind's good for. But I was too invested. I was too invested in the outcomes to be happy playing chess. So like, I'm not going to stop playing chess, but you got to play it like a game where if all of a sudden, you know, you lose, you blunder, you make another move, you know, and the universe makes a move and it's like, damn, nice move, God. Like, you really fucking got me with that one. You know, like I didn't see your fianchettoed bishop coming up, you know, coming down on the diagonal for me. You know, like
God can play that chess, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But you just know that you just play another game. You know, it's like, all right, cool, that was a good game. Like, let's new pieces, new ways on the board. Let's look at this a different way. And I think that's what I'm learning now is I'm really starting to have more and more faith. And for me, faith and happiness are like they're riding shotgun for each other.
Awesome, man. Faith and happiness riding shotgun. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah.
How about for you, brother?
Same. I mean, you know, like I got this feel. I'm gonna turn the camera because like I think the light is. I think I'm backlit. That's a movie term. I think I'm better off like this. Can you see me better?
I can. You got a nice
There we
cactus,
go.
good succulent
There you
action.
go.
There you go.
Yeah. Everyone loves succulents. Listen, I think I'm with you. I think happiness is it's not just a choice. It's not just a journey. It's this sort of thing that's kind of always in the ether. I got this thing about the law of attraction being gravity, right? And that we are the gravitational bodies and that we put things into our orbit. So we're much bigger than the particles that we conjure up, right? So if you think about like, what's the atomic weight of happiness? What's the atomic weight of love?
A lot lighter than sadness and grief and stress and jealousy, you know, a lot lighter than that.
Right. And it's kind of always just there, waiting for your acknowledgement. The sadness is not always there. The jealousy is not always there. These are like really sort of, well, I don't say really heavy, but they're more heavy than the ether, which is why they demand your full attention for that moment, right? And then I think we can always get back to what is the lightest thing and it's the easiest to attract to our gravitational body. And I think that's happiness. I think it's joy. I think that's love. It's also easy to forget it and let it dissipate. But once I've looked at it from that perspective, anytime I feel something that makes me feel a little bit off, I just sort of use my own gravity and I just pull it in. Just go, okay. There's a lot of happiness, even if I'm not feeling that happiness right now, there's a lot of happiness just in the fucking ether. It's just here. It's just light. It's just effervescent. It's just part of the fucking particles that are here with us. Where's that at? Oh, there it is. Just it's hiding behind that memory. Oh, it's on the other side of that FaceTime. It's on the other side of me reminding myself that I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like that I don't have to have the answers. And many times I didn't have the answers in my life and, you know, really uncertain times or really shitty circumstances. Just sort of being in your own skin and thanking the universe for that circumstance just kind of pulls it in. You're like, oh, yeah, there it is again.
Finding your own buoyancy. Finding your own buoyancy as a being. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Well, let's continue this chat on your channel, man.
Yeah, everybody move over to my channel. Let's continue to talk.
We're doing it. All right, everybody. Talk to you soon.